Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June 23rd, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good, feeling great. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up. We're loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Let's see. I don't have anything to report on the food corner. I'm gonna hopefully go get some food or something after I, wrap up this episode after some podcasting. But overall, things are good. It's been a long week, a little stressy spaghetti, but we made it to the weekend, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, hopefully you're gonna have a great Friday. Friday, happy Friday for you. Whenever you're listening to this, wherever. But yeah, enough about me. We can go ahead and get into some news. Let's see here from the BBC News. Greece boat disaster. 350 Pakistanis were on board, minister says. So this news kind of it almost fell through the cracks for me. I know we talked about the whole OceanGate submarine situation, but then prior we've also talked about other situations with Greek boats essentially, potentially doing something untoward or not doing enough in situations, and that leading to migrant ships literally sinking and people dying. So I saw this and I thought it was the same thing because it was Greek boats, people died. So I was like, okay, I don't want to do a redundant news thing. I don't want to cover the same thing twice. But then I realized this is a whole other thing. So I wanted to cover this at the top of the episode. Let's see here. At least 350 Pakistanis were on board a packed trawler that capsized off southern Greece on the 14th of June, Pakistan's interior minister says. They were able to identify families via DNA tests. Also, Egyptians and Syrians were also among the hundreds of migrants who were feared dead. The official death toll remains at 82, while 104 survived, including 12 Pakistanis. Now, kind of from what I've gathered from reading this article and then listening to the BBC World broadcast, the Greek boat noticed this ship. I think it had to do a pickup of some passengers in the Libyan city of Tobruk, and this boat is very packed. It's edge to edge, wall to wall with people. It's very noticeable out on the water. So, Greece has noticed it. This boat has noticed it, and they don't act. And I believe their response and reason why was, well, it fell into Libyan jurisdiction, so we left it to them. But by the time they go back out into the water, then this boat sinks and just no one's doing anything while it's stuck out in the water, not moving. I believe several hours go by. So, you can say the onus is on Libya here. You can say the onus is on, Greece. Both. I don't care. In a lot of situations, I don't really care how you slice it or what, or divvy up blame. Something could have been done here. And it's very frustrating to constantly see Greece making headlines over the same issue time and time again in just a short amount of time this year. And I am imagining this is not a new thing. This is not fresh behavior, if you will. And, yet again, of course, they do, lock up some smugglers. Let's see. More than 20 suspected human traffickers have been arrested in Pakistan since the disaster. Let's see here. Yeah, but they didn't. Shipping data suggests the fishing vessel was not moving for at least 7 hours. I don't know. It's just frustrating to see the reaction that we would rather focus on the people who are, doing the smuggling, the traffickers, whatever terminology these officials want to use. But they want to punish the people. And I get, the idea of punishing smugglers. Essentially, these are people making, a lot of money here. So, like, these are the bad guys. So if we get these guys, we stop it, we change everything. No, people are still going to want to cross. They still are going to want to make the effort because they want an opportunity to have a better life. At the end of the day, blaming and focusing on smugglers is only going to distract from the issue at hand, in my opinion. Is you need better borders. You need open borders. Not like, oh, we need tougher, stronger borders. We need to keep people out, brother. Not that yee shit. I'm gonna constantly keep saying that you need more open borders to just let people come to the country. At the end of the day, it is going to benefit you in the long run. I can rant about that for a long time. But we can go ahead and move on to the next thing. I also realized I didn't take my classic intro break. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And then also I'm going to tell you guys a little behind the scenes action. Something I like to do. I like to watch background things, like on silent. I don't know. It's like my Subway Surfers distraction while I work. So I've been watching Final Fantasy 16 gameplay because that dropped this week. Also, the beta I think is like closed. It's like a closed beta, but it's crazy that like Mortal Kombat is also a thing. Sorry, we're just shifting into game corner here, but Final Fantasy 16 is dope. It is really cool. I'm enjoying it. It's playing like a movie. So if I sound distracted or what have you, that's my stimulation in the background fucking me up. But speaking of stimulation, also, I decided to treat myself since it's been a long week and I've been kind of craving it for about a week and some change. I got some wine, so we got ourselves a little red wine. I figured I'd do a little wine episode. We love to do it. All right. Now we're adjusted. Sorry for that. From the Associated Press. Justice Alito accepted Alaska resort vacation from GOP donors, report says. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito accepted a 2008 trip to a luxury fishing lodge in Alaska from two wealthy Republican donors, one of whom repeatedly had interests before the court, and he did not disclose the trips on his financial disclosure for that year. ProPublica reports. Now, we've covered similar articles from ProPublica via other things because, it is a nice site. I love what they do, but it's a lot more longer, thorough, drawn out. And I'm like, could you just give me like some spark notes, a little summarization, please? So, I usually wind up sourcing it from another thing or I wind up listening to it, but go ahead and read a little bit more here. A story published late Tuesday by the nonprofit investigative journalism organization states that in July 2008, Alito flew to a remote corner of Alaska aboard a private plane of businessman and Republican donor Paul Singer. A hedge fund founded by the billionaire has brought roughly a dozen cases before the court since then. Alito did not recuse himself from participating in any of those cases. So, yet again, it is egg on the face of our justices who are, supposed to be arbiters, very neutral, yet they're getting wined and dined, maybe even 69'd. Obviously not, but you know what I mean. They're getting put up on these nice little trips, and, they are supposed to report it. There are lower Supreme Court circuits that have to do this, but for, our highest Supreme Court, there's no one over them. It's just themselves and their own discretion. And Alito and Clarence Thomas have both claimed that, like, well, these are like hospitality situations, personal hospitality situations or something like that. So we don't even have to declare this kind of stuff. Like, we're just not, we don't have to. So, I mean, there has been a push, a quote unquote bipartisan push, to have a little bit more, I'm trying to think what's the word, not restrictions, but just like, hey, you guys have to report to us. Like, we have to have some kind of body overseeing what you guys are doing here. And like I've said before in previous episodes, all 9 of the justices were like, nah, we don't like that. We're not okay with that. Like, we should be able to govern ourselves, and that's it. But to me, I always look at our system. The thing I love about it is that it's a 3-pronged system that's supposed to check and balance itself. And the idea that that's just kind of not true in the minutia, it is a sad thing to me. It is a frustrating thing to me. That being said, I mean, he did go on a cool ass baller trip. Let's see, Alito's 3-day stay at King Salmon Lodge was paid for by another wealthy donor, Robin Arkey II. Cool name. Being ironic, Arkey II. The owner of a mortgage company then based in California. Leonard Leo, then a leader of the conservative legal group, the Federalist Society, helped make arrangements for the trip, including securing a spot for Alito aboard Singer's jet, which would have cost Alito at least $100,000 if he chartered the jet himself. Now, Alito, when ProPublica brings this to him, he's like, just doesn't respond. And he goes to the Wall Street Journal and essentially lays out his side of the story. Like, he rebuffs all the questions, all that bull roar. But part of it is he's like, look, there was gonna be a seat on that jet vacant probably anyway. Like, what's the real issue here? And honestly, as much as I disagree, I don't like the shit these guys are getting away with, I'm not surprised by the behavior at all. It's not something that shocks me. There is this devil's argument, if you will, that they, like, people like Clarence Thomas, the people like Alito, were going to vote in a ultra conservative way, no matter what, whether or not these people were going to give them cool trips or tuition or whatever. Like, this was always going to happen. They were always going to vote the way they were going to vote. Like, why recuse yourself? Now, I don't know. At the end of the day, like I said, it's fucked up to me. I don't like it. I wish there was more oversight. I think that was the word I was looking for earlier. I wish there was more oversight on all the branches of government. You know what I mean? I feel like that would motivate Congress to do more and be more active. It would, I think we do have a method of keeping the executive branch, in power, or not in power, but like in check. Vetoes, all that kind of shit. Sorry, I'm queuing up all my School of Rock knowledge right now. But yeah, it's just crazy that the judges just don't have anyone over them. There's no panel, committee, or anything that just goes, hey, maybe you guys should, like, not do this or not do that, or like there'll be like some consequences. Like, nah, they're like, we don't like that. But yeah, I mean, that's more or less the coverage there. We move on to some other Supreme Court shit. I'm not gonna lie to you, the rest of this episode is just Supreme Court blah blah. So if that's not your fancy, completely understand. Thank you for listening. But I wanted to cover this before we get into some other weekend news, or just other news I got down the pipe. From USA Today, Supreme Court declines appeal from Christian school fighting transgender housing. The Supreme Court on Tuesday declined to hear an appeal from a Christian college in Missouri that sued the Biden administration over its decision to shield transgender people from housing discrimination. At issue was a 2021 memo from the Department of Housing and Urban Development that interpreted a federal anti-discrimination law as protecting transgender individuals. The College of the Ozarks claimed that the guidance conflicted with its ability to make housing assignments for students on the basis of sex assigned at birth. Let's read a little bit more here. College of the Ozarks brought this challenge for one reason. The Biden administration was attempting to force them to open their dormitories to members of the opposite sex. This was according to Alliance Defending Freedom, Senior Counsel Julie Marie Blake. Though the High Court chose not to review this case, we are hopeful it will soon take up related cases. College of the Ozarks will continue to follow its beliefs. So those cases that they're kind of referencing are, even though theirs got shot down, and I think they're going to lower courts, if I'm not mistaken, but which they have lost on the way up. So at least it looks like, hey, that's good. Hopefully this is going to be a solid dub. But there might be more cases down the pipe, and if they are voted favorably for these like transgender bans, then they could, retroactively then be used as reference in a case for this church or this college. Obviously, I think I couldn't imagine being someone who is transgender and then being like, hey, this is a college I want to go to, and having to go through just this on the entry. That's so hard. It's so devastating, so frustrating. I mean, these Christian colleges, I think they want to hold on to this, this religious script that they have, and they want to use the law to kind of uphold this belief. Though I am glad that the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Biden administration on this one. I mean, if you know me and my my views and my stances, that shouldn't be that crazy of a thought. So yeah, I was surprised to see it go that way, but they do reference that like Kavanaugh seems to be a little bit, once again, more moderate, as well as a couple of the other judges. So I mean, hey, that's good, but there's still more cases coming down the pipe. Obviously we got one more before we close out, but the Biden administration's memo was the result of a significant 2020 Supreme Court decision that bars discrimination in the workplace based on sexual orientation and gender identity. The ruling in Bostock v. Clayton County focused on Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which explicitly prohibits workplace discrimination based on race, color, national origin, sex, and religion. A majority of the court held that sexual orientation and gender identity necessarily involve a person's sex. Because of that, they reasoned the law prohibits LGBTQ plus discrimination. So yeah, this was a dub. We're happy to see it. Let's go ahead and move along. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm getting thirsty. Oh, all right. Actually, yeah, we can go ahead and just take my last break too on top of that combo. Ooh wee. All right. Our last story comes from the Los Angeles Times. Supreme Court upholds Biden immigration enforcement plan, tosses out Texas lawsuit. The Supreme Court on Friday, upheld a key part of President Biden's plan for targeted immigration enforcement, ruling the administration may focus its effort on arresting and deporting those who pose a current danger. In an 8-1 decision, the justices said the Texas and Louisiana lacked standing to sue in order to require a more aggressive federal policy of arrest. Writing for the court, Justice Brett M. Kavanaugh evoked a conservative principle that judges should not make government policy through politically driven lawsuits. Moreover, enforcing the immigration laws has been understood to be the job of the executive branch, not the courts. So, I mean, this is kind of, talking yet again about who has what power, who can kind of oversee what. So, once again, I mean, this is the kind of nice thing to hear conservatives kind of talk. Like, they'll use the Constitution, they'll use the laws that are in play to be like, hey, this is why you shouldn't be bringing this to us. I think they also say some kind of rigmarole of like, you guys aren't being harmed or anything directly, so you guys can't even make the lawsuit. Like, it's kind of like frivolous or whatever. I might be getting that wrong, but I just kind of want a shortcut here. But, I mean, it's surprising to see them rule in favor of the Biden administration. I think that's the quote-unquote W here. But I feel like that's a moderate way of looking at it. I think we've looked at how Biden has handled the immigration problem, quote unquote, and it's been dog shit. It's been absolute dog water. Greg Abbott is doing burnouts in his fucking chair about it, but at the end of the day, you cannot get more draconian. Like, I mean, yes, you fucking can, obviously, sadly, but yeah, essentially, Abbott sees what's going on and is like, okay, fine. I guess we'll just handle it ourselves with our National Guard, yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, I only see this as a partial win that just is not getting worse for our immigration policy. But it's not good. It's still not good. I still would love to see changes, but I highly doubt that we will with this president. But yeah, that's about it. That's all we really got for this episode. I thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me whine. Let's see, if you'd like to help out, support the effort, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You can become a newsie today. I will shout you out at the top of every month. That's coming up soon. And I will also shout out any projects, anything you'd like me to shout out, what have you. I do birthdays, whatever. I mean, it's almost like I'm like a amateur little cameo experience. If you want, I mean, I'll do it for $5. But let's see, free ways to contact the pod. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube. Yeah. Thumbs up if you are listening on the YouTube. That'd be cool. Yeah. Feel free to rate the podcast, hopefully favorably. I'd like that. That'd be nice. Good feedback's always great. If you're on Apple or let's see, Spotify. Yeah, Spotify, my mainstay, my stomping grounds. So yeah, that's the episode. I hope you're going to have an amazing day, night, whichever time it is for you listening now. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.